There is a specific kind of silence that a man earns after years of trial, error, and endurance. It is not the silence of emptiness, but the silence of a well-ordered mind, a fortress where reason rules and peace is the most valuable currency. But as any man who has lived long enough knows, that fortress is constantly under siege. The threats don't always come with battering rams or loud declarations of war. Often they arrive with a smile, a beguiling scent, and a hand reaching out to hold yours. We have all seen it. Some women bring light the moment they walk into a room. Their presence is a balm, a reinforcement of the good life. Others, however, bring the light only when they leave. This is not a conversation born of bitterness, nor is it a manifesto of blame. Blame is a waste of energy, and energy is finite. This is about clarity. It is about the wisdom to recognize who deserves a seat at your table and who is there only to consume the feast you have prepared. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that the happiness of our life depends upon the quality of our thoughts, but he might well have added that it also depends heavily on the company we keep. If you invite chaos into your sanctuary, do not be surprised when your peace is shattered. To protect your time, your energy, and your hard-earned stability, you must learn to read the subtle, shifting currents of character that reveal a woman who will drain you rather than sustain you. The first and perhaps most seductive trap is the woman who has perfected the art of eternal victimhood. This is a subtle danger, because it appeals to the noblest instincts within a man, the desire to protect, to fix, and to save. When you first meet her, her stories seem tragic and compelling. She paints a vivid picture of a world that has been relentlessly unfair to her. The ex-husband was a narcissist. The boss was threatened by her brilliance, the family favored the sister, and the friends were all traitors. You listen, you nod, and you feel a swell of protectiveness. You think to yourself, she just hasn't met a good man yet. I can be that man. That thought is the hook. What you do not yet realize is that you are not stepping into a relationship. You are stepping into a pre-written script where she is the perpetual martyr, and the role of the villain is currently vacant, waiting for you to fill it. A woman who refuses to take ownership of her past will never take responsibility for her present. The stories of betrayal are not merely history to her. They are a shield against accountability. If you stay, you will watch the narrative shift in real time. When a disagreement arises, it will not be a matter of two adults seeking a solution. It will be another instance of her being wronged. You will find yourself exhausted, constantly playing the defense attorney for your own character, trying to prove you are not like the others. But to the perpetual victim, everyone eventually becomes one of the others. Stoicism teaches that we have power over our minds, not outside events. The victim rejects this power entirely, surrendering to circumstance and demanding you carry the emotional weight of that surrender. Closely linked to the victim is the woman who treats peace as if it were a disease, the addict of drama. You will feel this sign in your gut before you intellectualize it. It is a vibration of unrest. There are women for whom stability feels like boredom. If a week goes by without a crisis, a conflict, or a sudden emotional emergency, she becomes restless. She will strike a match just to see the fire, to feel the heat, to ensure that she is the center of the emotional universe. This addiction to chaos is often mistaken for passion in the early days. The highs are incredibly high and the lows are devastatingly low. But this roller coaster is not a sign of depth. It is a sign of dysregulation. Seneca famously noted that an angry man opens his mouth and shuts his eyes, and this applies perfectly here. The drama addict is blinded by impulse. She is not interested in resolution, truth, or harmony. She is interested in the stimulation of conflict. You will find yourself walking on eggshells, scanning the horizon for the next storm, your own nervous system constantly spiked in fight or flight mode. A man cannot build a legacy, a business, or a profound life if his home base is a theater of war. Your home should be the place where your armor comes off, not where it gets tested daily. If you are exhausted by the sheer effort of keeping the emotional climate stable, you are in the presence of an energy vampire. As the relationship deepens, the mechanisms of control often become more sophisticated. One of the most potent and destructive tools in the wrong woman's arsenal is guilt. It is a silent, creeping weapon. It does not leave bruises, but it crushes the spirit. This is not the overt demand for compliance. It is the heavy sigh, the cold shoulder, the weaponized silence that fills the room when you prioritize your own needs or boundaries. Consider the mechanics of guilt. It triggers the same neural pathways as physical pain. It is a visceral sensation of heaviness. A manipulative woman knows exactly how to pull these strings to make you second-guess your reality. You cancel plans with friends because you fear the look of disappointment. You apologize for things you didn't do just to break the tension. You slowly erode your own boundaries to avoid the penalty of her unhappiness. She makes you feel that your independence is a betrayal of her. This is a direct assault on your freedom. Epictetus taught that no man is free who is not master of himself. When your actions are dictated by the fear of guilt rather than the clarity of reason, you have abdicated your mastery. You are no longer living your life. You are managing her moods. A partner should encourage your autonomy, not punish it. If you feel a constant low-level hum of guilt for simply being yourself, you are being controlled. Furthermore, life inevitably delivers blows that bring us to our knees. It is in these moments, the loss of a parent, a health scare, a financial collapse, that the veil is lifted and you see the true nature of the person standing beside you. This brings us to the most chilling deficiency, a lack of empathy. Empathy is not just being nice, it is the capacity to step outside of one's own ego and sit in the darkness with another person. There is a distinct coldness to a woman who lacks this capacity. You might share a vulnerability, a fear, or a grief, and instead of meeting you with a steady, compassionate presence, she glances at her phone, offers a platitude, or worse, pivots the conversation back to her own trivial inconveniences. It is a profound loneliness to be with someone who witnesses your pain but does not feel it. You may find yourself making excuses for her, telling yourself she is just bad with emotions or having a rough day, but look closer. If she cannot sit with you in the fire, she is not your partner. She is merely a passenger who will bail when the ride gets rough. A Stoic accepts reality as it is, not as he wishes it to be. If the empathy is not there, no amount of love or effort from your side can manufacture it. It is a missing limb of the soul, and without it, there is no true connection, only proximity. In our modern age, this lack of depth often manifests in a relentless obsession with the superficial. We are living in a time where appearances are frequently valued over substance, but a woman who has internalized this value system is a dangerous companion for a man of purpose. This is the woman who measures the worth of a life by the aesthetics of it. The size of the house, the brand of the car, the digital applause of strangers on social media. This goes beyond simply enjoying nice things. It is an existential hollowness that tries to fill itself with external validation. If you tie your life to a woman like this, you become less of a partner and more of a prop. You are the financier of her image, the background actor in her vanity project. The Stoics called these external things indifference because they do not touch the core of who we are. But to her, they are everything. The danger here is that her hunger is insatiable. As Seneca warned, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. A woman obsessed with status is eternally poor in spirit. She will never be content, and therefore you will never know peace. You will be on a treadmill of acquisition, running toward a horizon that keeps moving away, exhausting your resources to feed a hunger that cannot be satisfied. Perhaps the most frustrating barrier to a peaceful life is a woman who is incapable of admitting she is wrong. This sounds like a minor annoyance, but it is a major character flaw that signals a fragile ego and a stunted ability to grow. In any long-term partnership, conflict is inevitable. Resolution requires two people who are committed to the truth more than they are committed to winning. However, there is a type of woman for whom being wrong is equated with being destroyed. She will twist logic into pretzels, rewrite history, and deflect blame with breathtaking agility rather than utter the simple words, "I made a mistake." If you present facts, she will shift to feelings. If you address the issue, she will attack your tone. The goalpost is constantly moving because her objective is not resolution, it is the preservation of her superiority. This is the death knell of intimacy. A person who cannot admit fault cannot learn, and a person who cannot learn cannot grow. You will find yourself in a stagnant relationship, trapped in circular arguments that never resolve, forced to carry the burden of humility for both of you. It is a lonely path to walk, bearing the weight of every apology while she remains perched on a pedestal of infallibility. Finally, there is the sign that is often overlooked until the years have already slipped away: the blatant disrespect for your time. Time is the one resource that, once spent, can never be refunded. A woman who habitually keeps you waiting, who cancels plans on a whim, or who expects you to bend your entire schedule to accommodate her lack of planning, is telling you exactly what she thinks of your value. This is not about being 5 minutes late due to traffic. This is about a systemic disregard for your life. When a woman leaves you sitting in a restaurant alone, or forces you to miss opportunities because she couldn't be bothered to organize her day, she is demonstrating a hierarchy where her whims sit above your existence. It is a subtle power play. By controlling your time, she controls your life. A Stoic treats time as sacred. To allow someone to waste it is to allow them to steal a portion of your life that you will never get back. If she cannot respect your clock, she does not respect your. It is that simple. Recognizing these traits is not an exercise in judgment. It is an exercise in survival. It is about guarding the gates of your life against those who would plunder your peace. The decision to walk away from a woman who displays these signs, the victimhood, the drama, the lack of empathy, the superficiality, is not an act of cruelty. It is an act of supreme self-respect. The Stoic path is one of endurance, yes, but not the endurance of unnecessary suffering. We endure the hardships of fate. We do not volunteer for the hardships of toxic company. Your peace is a fortress. You have spent years building it, stone by stone, through your work, your discipline, and your struggles. Do not lower the drawbridge for someone who arrives with the torch in hand, ready to burn it down. Realize that you cannot fix these traits in another person. You cannot love a victim into responsibility. You cannot reason a drama addict into peace. You cannot teach empathy to a heart that is closed. The only thing you can control is your own choice, to stay and wither or to leave and thrive. Choose clarity, choose dignity, and above all, choose the company of those who bring light into the room, not those who demand you burn Eustachius out to keep them warm. Your life is too short and your time is too valuable to spend it with anyone who does not recognize the worth of the man standing before them.